they don't think or know. I don't know all the details of the most intimate details of the physics world. If I was, I'd be a physicist instead. I'm something else. But we know that there is something there that's massive, and it accounts for 99% of the mass of the universe. I mean, that's what the observations tell us, based on the models that we have that do very good at predicting things.
That's all fine. But you are suggesting that there lies within this dark energy it's a thing's own self-governance, right?
No,
that somewhere within this dark energy is the prescription of a particular set of matter's behavior as opposed to another particular set of matter. Is that what you're arguing?
I'm just arguing that we don't know, but it is an open possibility that what my basic argument is that you cannot logic your way to these kinds of absolutes. You work within the observations that you can make about the universe, and whatever is outside of those observations, you can certainly postulate about it, and you should, because it can lead you to methods for making observations that have some relevance to us.
Well, in science, we can make postulations without having any amount of evidence, and we can judge these postulations on logic itself, on logical reasoning. Idea of physics and what is it called? What physics? Something physics. What's the adjective? Theoretical physics, I think. Theoretical physics deals with this sort of thing all the time. It takes what little we know, and then it makes very large logical projections from that little bit of knowledge. However, whenever that is done, you can still judge a thing based on its logical progression. And so the contention that I would have with the idea that dark matter is in any way capable of governing its own self, its own matter, would be in that. Okay, what are you saying?
I'm saying.
Well, I'm okay. Then let's.
I mean, you're looking for an ultimate answer. I'm saying that we can't really find that ultimate answer. I guess.
Which is an ultimate answer? Interestingly enough, we're bound to this. I mean, this is logic. That's how it works. We either know absolutely or we don't know absolutely, and to not know absolutely is to know. And look. Let me make a proposition, and you can shoot it down.
Sure.
Any thing in the universe behaves in a predictable way, or we assume, because it has some property within it that keeps it consistent. When science measures things, it assumes that what it is measuring is not random, but in such a way predictable that it can be consistent, and then we measure someone's height now, it will be more or less the same 2 seconds from now, depending on our sensitivity of measurement. How can it be that the attribute of a thing is in fact the cause of its own being an attribute? How can the color of a person's hair be the cause of its color? Do you see?
Certainly. I understand perfectly what you're asking. And in fact, we do look beyond the thing itself, the attribute, for an explanation of that attribute. I'm suggesting that that there's no end to that chain, possibly. Possibly. I may be wrong. That may not be the case. There may be an end to that chain. We don't know. And I don't think we can logic our way to that answer.
Well, I don't think we could find it scientifically either. If there is, say for a moment that the world is governed by immaterial laws, it's not going to be science to find an immaterial law underneath a microscope, no matter how powerful that might be.
Certainly.
So, all we are left with, if in fact the world is dictated by a set of principles that are immaterial, what are we left with? To discover them.
I don't think that there's any need. I mean, what will that do for us? What value?
Well, what would science do at all if its business was not to determine why things do the things that they do? And that's what science does.
Well, okay, let's just kind of shelve this question for a moment. Because I wanted to talk about a couple other things, and this is a good place to segue into it. Because I think these are questions that underlie what it is we're trying to get at. So let me just ask you, what is truth? And why is it important to us?
Truth is a linguistic representation of reality. And it is important to us because our knowledge is linguistic.
Okay. I'm not sure how that makes it important to us, because our knowledge is linguistic.
What is important?
Let me suggest why I think truth is important and what it really is. It's not very different from what you said as far as definitionally. In order to, and this is a little bit circular. It's not really, but it sounds a little bit circular. And so, in order to be successful, to meet whatever ends we may have, whatever goals we desire to achieve, we are creatures that create models, representations of the world outside, in order that we can navigate successfully through the world. If we had terrible representations, we'd be bumping into things and falling down, and we wouldn't be very effective at whatever goals we may have. And it does beg a question, but we'll come back to that. Truth is simply a description of how well our representations of reality reflect reality. So whatever is really out there, when we talk about finding the truth, we're not talking about finding what's really out there. Because if we had the truth, we would have reality itself. Nothing can perfectly represent reality without itself being reality. All models are going to be imperfect. They'll be, different depending on the perspective you have. You're looking at, the blind men and the elephant. Our perspectives are limited, and so our truth is there. But that's what I would suggest truth is simply a description of how well our representations or models of reality actually reflect reality, and nothing more. It's not an object. It's not a thing. It's a description. And why? I guess I kind of covered why truth is important to us, because as representers, as creatures that represent the world, if our representations are poor, then we're not going to accomplish any end that we set out to accomplish. So, what do you have? I'm sure things are teeming. You'd love to.
No, I think that sounds remarkably like what I was offering at the beginning. I think that's fine.
Okay. Well, good. So we agree on that one.